Hey everyone, welcome to the Better Wounds podcast. We dive into all things plastic surgery and complications after your procedures. I'm your host, I'm Heather Flexer. I'm a wound care specialist. I am dealing with people all the time that are having complications after their procedure. And today I'm really excited. I've got Mavi Rodriguez here from Big Butts No Lies podcast. She's normally doing the interviewing, and today she agreed to let me interview her. So thank you for coming on.
You're so welcome. I'm happy to be here, Heather. I'm happy to
Yeah.
be here with you.
Yeah. So I know you are a plastic surgery coordinator in the past and a consultant now. You do one-on-one consultations for people through their plastic surgery journey, like the whole gamut. Finding finding someone, their pre-op, their post-op, like the whole thing. So that's awesome. I'm really glad you're here because I'm about to have surgery in 2 weeks. So I'm just taking every opportunity to talk to as many people as I can. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of resources. I do post-op care. I, work with people after their wounds, but getting to know everyone in this community and just tapping resources left and right, I know it'll help someone else as well. So right now, I am at the point where, like, I know my surgeon. I'm doing a breast lift and core lipo. Um, it's a surgeon that I've done work on her clients before, like their post-op care. So I know like what I'm getting into there. But man, this like 2 weeks before, I'm like, oh my God, what am I forgetting?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So you're doing breast and
Just just a lift,
okay, breast lift and
core lipo, like
you'll
around
go all the way around
I
360.
she'll probably get a little bit of the backside where we'll talk about exactly where right before we go in, but yeah, like the whole thing, but
Okay.
not a tuck.
So, do you know if she's gonna be, I don't know what you look like from here down, so I don't know if it would be considered high volume lipo or how much lipo you're gonna be having removed. And high volume can be different from person to person. High
Yeah, yeah.
volume to me means like over 3-4 pound liters of lipo. So I don't know how much you're having off, but um, depending on how much lipo you're going to be having, I would probably prepare for some of that fluid to come out. So preparing your garments, making sure you have more than one garment so that you can wash one and put one in the dryer. Making sure that you're cleaning your recovery area to the max. Hand sanitizing, Lysol, cleaning the doorknobs, sweeping, taking all the pets out, making sure that nobody's going to be in your recovery area that could contaminate something that you touch and then you touch your incisions or something like that. We don't want that. So clean your recovery area. Make sure you plan your meals. I'm sure if you're working with Kylie, you already know
Yep.
plan your meals and make sure you're prepared for that recovery period when you're not going to be leaving your house. You're going to be kind of hanging out and recovering. Um, yeah, that's like right before when I'm getting my girls ready. Those are the things we're talking about. Supplies, what supplies do they need? What so you will most likely need to get 2 sports bras that you can use and
Yeah,
switch
yeah.
out, just so you can always have one.
So do the like I do different care with my like physical therapy business where I'm, seeing people for different procedures, but a lot of times people are expecting to be provided with things like by
Mhm.
the surgeon.
Mhm.
Um, do you see that being an issue? Like, are people coming thinking like, oh, I'm gonna walk out of the procedure and they're gonna give me everything that I'm supposed to have?
So usually when I work with my clients one-on-one, we know what we're getting before we book the surgery.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
one of the questions that I have my clients ask is, what am I getting with the surgery? What's included? What supplies will you be providing? And what supplies am I responsible for? That way, that's a big picture when you're making your decision, right, on who to have surgery. Maybe it's not for you, but other women who are in this situation where they're trying to decide between going over here and going over there. And maybe this place has a smaller, a bit higher price, but they provide all of your supplies and they give you your garment and they give you an extra garment. And maybe they give you a couple of massages and they give you something. And then this other quote who might be a little bit cheaper, but you don't get anything and you're responsible for buying everything, whether it is gauze, garments, foam, uh, got anything you're going to need, it's on you. So these are things that I like to know with my clients before we even book the surgery. Hey,
Right, right,
just
right.
so you know, if you go this way, you're going to be responsible for all of these things. And if you go with this guy, this is what you're going to be responsible for. So ask them, what do I get? What am I getting before I give you my deposit? What comes with my surgery?
Yeah, super important. Um, what do you like most of your clients, are they, I'm assuming they're getting multiple procedures just because that's like if you're going under, like you're gonna get that's the situation I'm in where I'm like, oh, you need to put me out. All right, well, go ahead and do the other stuff too.
Might as well while I'm under, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, most of my clients are doing big surgeries. They're doing mommy makeovers where we're doing tummy, breast, booty sometimes, 360 lipo. Most of my clients are doing multiple procedures at once.
Yeah. Especially if you're paying these like facility fees, it's like might as
I
well.
mean,
And the
yeah,
recovery process is long.
exactly.
So, yeah, you might as well get it all done. I do notice, or I think like, on my end with the wound stuff, I think some of these bigger procedures, it's just so much trauma to the body that's sometimes where these things happen. Maybe it's not a huge issue, but because you've just had so much trauma. And there's so many things like you're listening to. So I think it's great that you're out there. Your podcast is doing great. You've got all these wonderful guests, and there's so much information out there, but it's pretty overwhelming. And then, like,
Overwhelming.
it's weird being on like the other side, right? Because I'm used to telling people what to do, and then being on the other side, you're like, wait a minute, literally nobody's telling you anything. So it's
You,
great that there are people out there putting out info.
that was the motivation for my show because I felt and I still feel like an insider because I worked in the office for 14 years almost. A long time. I was in there with the patients, hearing what the surgeons would recommend, hearing what the patients were going through, walking them through the process. And I realized as as a coordinator, there's only so much that I can do for my girls when I'm getting them ready for surgery, when I'm working for the plastic surgeon, because I have a lot of things that I'm working on. I'm coordinating the surgery, making sure that everything's going to be done. What we in the office never take into consideration is how is this patient going to prepare at home? What are they doing? We're just like, you're going to go home, you're going to recover, you're going to be great. I'll see you in a week. Well, what happens in that week? How are they coming home and getting comfortable to sleep? And this is where the patients go online and they find all of these things and they get overwhelmed. And that's why I launched my show because I'm like, okay, hold on, hold on. You don't need to spend $1,000 on supplies before you even book your surgery. There's no need for you to be planning something focused on what stage 2 garment you're going to have when you haven't even prepared your room or your bed or where you're going to sleep or what
Let's
you're going to
get through stage 1 first.
eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So So what I do is keep you at kind of like, okay, right now we're focusing on this. Let's find your surgeon. Let's go through the process of making sure that we know exactly who you're going to have surgery with, what's included, what's going to be provided, and what you need to buy before we even put the deposit down. Because what I try to do is prevent my girls from having issues later on down the line. Like, for example, booking with a surgeon that maybe doesn't provide any supplies and then realizing, oh, well, I put my whole budget into that surgery. Now I don't have any additional funds to get all these supplies. So those are problems that can be solved before we even book, just by being calm and strategic and thoughtful and really planning things out and not letting the excitement of having surgery overcome us, because it's easy. I know, I've been there. I've been getting ready for surgery and just so excited to have surgery, and just I want everything to be perfect, and it's normal for us to feel like that. So what I do is kind of like, okay, I know you're feeling like that, but it's because this is your first time going through this specific surgery. I've gone through this thousands and thousands and thousands of times. 15,000 times was the last time I did some calculations on how many
Oh, wow.
women I helped. So I'm like, you're excited, but I'm calm and collected. And I know, like, I'm walking you through the process.
Oh yeah, you definitely. I mean, it's such a roller coaster. I mean, even I've been like, do I do this? Do I not do this? Yay, I'm doing this. Oh my God, I can't wait till next summer. What was I thinking? Like, it's just so having someone set that like gets it, and it's great that you're out there doing it. But I can't believe that there aren't more like, even offices providing like a little counseling along the way.
Well, it's really exciting that you brought that up, because when I started this show and I was doing my discovery calls, I would get to talk to different ladies and hear what they're complaining about. And what I realized was, like, no matter where they're at, they could be in Mexico, they can be in Germany, they can be in Florida, Texas, California, Oregon. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money they paid. None of it matters. What matters is that these women don't feel supported through their recovery process. All of them are telling me the same thing. Every single one tells me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I'm going to hurt myself or what. I'm just looking on the internet. So I partnered with a company called Pop Recovery Systems, and together they brought me an idea and I brought what I knew. I was like, look, this is what we're dealing with and what we're suffering from. We need some change. And what we did was put together a system that we're getting into the plastic surgery offices, that when you sign up with the surgeons that work with us, you get a mental health coach, a nutritionist, and a concierge. So somebody who's helping you get mentally prepared, somebody who's helping you get nutritionally prepared, and then somebody who's helping you get all the logistics settled.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah. I've definitely heard of them. Yeah.
so that was my solution to the problem that I saw of, like, oh my gosh, there's so much information out here and it's all contra against each other.
Yeah. It's at like every level too. Even like the folks that come with the wound issues that eventually find me, like they're using some things that are right and some things that are just like not timed right is a lot of what I'll see, like because you're out there looking in groups and like you're taking tidbits here and there, you have no idea who you're talking to, and it sounds right and you try it and then it's like, oh no, I got a mess now. So yeah, it's more information, more collaboration, like all of it is needed and fantastic, and it's only going to help the community out there.
My tip for you as you get ready is make sure you stay in your compression. Don't try to get crazy and do too much before you're ready, especially with us who are busy women, professionals, business owners. We want to get back into action, and then we end up causing more swelling, more inflammation, especially with 360 lipo. Because you start
Yeah.
feeling like, okay, I'm fine, I'll be fine. And then you do too much, and then you get, but we're
Yeah,
the
yeah.
patients. We are the worst.
I have like a good chunk of time taken off, which I can extend more if needed. So I'll only really be doing like, video consults and things like that in the beginning and trying to do some more videos along the way through the recovery and stuff like that. But that's like not overdoing it, I hope. And I can always readjust as I go. But yeah, I definitely see that. I see people, getting back to work a little bit too soon, especially if they do something physical.
Mhm.
Um, with incisions, it can cause like the pulling, and then they don't like the way it looks, and then we've got other issues. So for
Exactly.
sure, yeah, resting is necessary. Um, so what's one of the things like you hear some of your clients that they really did not have, like they didn't know ahead of time, and it's like within that first like week or two, and they're like, wait, I was supposed to do what? Like, what do you get anything like that that rings a
Um,
bell?
Not really. Not any of my clients that work with me, like one-on-one, because I don't like
Are all
surprise.
your clients finding you like, is the most of your clients getting you before surgery, or are you getting some after? Like, do you turn away after?
So no, no, no. Most of my clients are finding me before surgery because that's when they're online and they're researching, and that's when they're getting overwhelmed with like, oh my God, what surgeon do I pick? Or they get stuck with the different and small little details of, like, for example, the biggest one is, oh, I want a doctor that does drainless. I only want a doctor that does drainless. And then they are searching and searching and searching and searching, and then they find out that drainless versus drains, there's like a divide on the surgeons who do one or the other. And then they're like, well, why? So then it causes more confusion, which is the right path, which is the right way. And so they're finding me when they're doing their research, and then I just help them kind of figure it out. Well,
Hmm.
most of the time they have a puzzle, all the puzzle pieces. I just help them put the puzzle together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't turn
So
any way after surgery, though. If you need my help, I'm here for you.
perfect. Love to hear it. Sometimes it's like they don't even realize they need help, and then a lot of docs don't. There's definitely, I think it's just ingrained that we think we've been trained that the doctor knows everything and they're going to have all the answers, and that's who's going to tell you exactly what to do. But they're not really communicating much after. It's like, hey, you made it through surgery and your incisions are closed. Like,
Good
good job.
job. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah. So there's so much to go between that, like before and after, like that, what we see, what we're all striving for, what we're excited to have surgery about. There's like a lot that's happened in
Exactly.
between there.
Exactly. The good thing is breast surgery is not just breast lift, not breast with implant. It's not as painful as the liposuction that you're gonna be focused on the lipo pain, girl.
I also know like that leads me to your bruise juice. So that's your product. But yeah, so I'm having lipo for PAH. And so I know I'm going to be like super bruised. That's like one of the reasons like the doc has to put me out. She's like, no, no, like you don't want to be awake for this.
Yeah.
So I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to come out pretty purple.
Let me give you a little tip, which is why I created my bruise juice. You have a light complexion like me, and like a lot of women that I would see in the office. And what I would see was sometimes the lipo bruising would stay so long that it would stain their skin. So there's something called hemosiderin staining that if a bruise stays in your skin for too long, like it'll stain your skin. And I started to see it in the once we figured out what it was, I was like, well, how do we fix that? How do you fix that? And I would ask my surgeons, well, how do you prevent that? And they're like, the bruise has to go away before it stains. And I'm like, okay, well, how do we get the bruises to go away? So that's when I went and formulated my bruise juice. So it helps bruising, swelling, inflammation. And usually you see a huge change in about 3 days.
Awesome. That's great. And where do folks find that?
You can find it on my website. It's bigbuttsnolies.com.
Great. I need to get me some for sure. Yeah, I know I'll be bruised and swollen and yeah, all that good stuff. And
Yeah,
it's
no,
so, I mean, with any procedure really, there's going to be, but with the lipo even more, especially at the core.
lipo.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. What else? Thank you so much for joining me. I want to make sure everyone can find you, especially for all your services and your bruise juice. Where can they find you?
So you can find me on my website. It's www.bigbuttsnolies.com. And you can also find me on Instagram. It's Big Butts No Lies Podcast. And I'll be there. Say hi. Come say hi in my stories.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me. And good luck, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.